The role of women in Islam versus Christianity. The role of women in Islam and Christianity has been shaped by religious doctrines, cultural practices, and historical evolution. While both religions share some core values regarding the spiritual equality of men and women, they differ in how these principles are applied in family, society, and leadership roles. Let's explore these roles in the context of religious texts, historical developments, and modern interpretations one by one. 1. The role of women in Islam. Sacred texts and core teachings. Islam's sacred text, the Qur'an, emphasizes spiritual equality, stating that men and women are created from a single soul, Qur'an 4:1, with equal accountability before God. While men and women are equal in their faith and moral responsibilities, Islam assigns distinct societal roles. Men are seen as protectors and maintainers of women, responsible for providing for the family, which influences rules like inheritance, Qur'an 4:11, and decision-making authority in certain areas like divorce. Women's rights in Islam. Islam granted women rights long before many other societies, including the rights to own property, seek education, and retain their earnings. The Quran condemns forced marriage and upholds women's consent in marital decisions. Early Islamic women played active roles in society, business, and even politics. However, cultural interpretations have sometimes restricted women's roles, creating a gap between Islamic teachings and societal practices. The evolution of women's roles in modern Islam. In recent decades, Islamic feminists have worked to reinterpret the Quran and Hadith, arguing that patriarchal interpretations have led to inequality. These reformers seek to balance religious principles with modern demands for gender equality in education, employment, and public life. 2. The role of women in Christianity. Sacred texts and core teachings. Christianity also teaches that men and women are spiritually equal, both created in the image of God, Genesis chapter 1 verse 27. Jesus Christ's treatment of women in the Gospels was progressive for its time. He included women among his followers and allowed them to participate in his ministry. However, traditional Christian teachings, particularly from Paul's epistles, have often reinforced male authority in marriage and church, with verses instructing women to be submissive to their husbands, Ephesians chapter 5 verse 22, and silent in church, 1 Corinthians chapter 14 verse 34-35. Women's rights in Christianity. Historically, women's roles in the church were limited, especially in leadership positions. For centuries, women were excluded from the clergy in most Christian denominations. However, women played essential roles in Christian life, particularly through monastic orders, missionary work, and social services. Figures such as Saint Teresa of Avila and Saint Catherine of Siena were influential spiritual leaders in their time. The evolution of women's roles in modern Christianity. The 20th century saw significant changes, especially among Protestant denominations, where women were ordained as ministers, pastors, and bishops. Christian feminists have challenged traditional interpretations of the Bible, advocating for gender equality in all areas of life. However, more conservative denominations, such as the Roman Catholic Church, continue to reserve the priesthood for men, emphasizing motherhood and family as central to women's roles. 3. Comparison of women's roles in Islam and Christianity. Both Islam and Christianity offer spiritual equality but assign distinct roles in family and society. Islam emphasizes complementarity between men and women, particularly in familial and financial responsibilities, with men seen as primary providers. Christianity has historically placed men in leadership roles, particularly within the church and household, though modern movements within some Christian denominations have embraced gender equality in leadership. In both religions, cultural practices have often shaped the application of religious teachings, sometimes leading to restrictions on women's rights. However, reform movements within both faiths are challenging these interpretations, seeking to align religious principles with modern ideals of gender equality. Conclusion. The roles of women in Islam and Christianity are complex and have been shaped by both religious texts and cultural influences. Both religions advocate for spiritual equality but have traditionally imposed distinct roles in family and leadership. In modern times, reform movements in both Islam and Christianity are reinterpreting religious teachings to promote gender equality. As these movements continue, women in both religions are playing increasingly active roles in religious, educational, and societal spheres, striving for a balance between faith and modern gender norms.